to start right away. And we can see that investment activity is picking up. One basket is international state support, which Ukraine is getting steadily, but absolutely we need way more. In Lugano conference, government of Ukraine said that we will need around 750 billion US dollars in order to recover our economy and rebuild it. So the war has not finished and we experience losses on daily basis. So this figure is rising. On a separate note, we need to think about private investment because this is how we will take our economy to a new level, because we need to bring technologies, we need to bring private money to Ukraine, and we have to build a new Ukraine which is not only focused on export of raw materials, but on exports of products with high value added.
Well, you mentioned expertise there, and I've heard about architects and engineers, but can you give me a broader look at the kind of expertise that Ukraine will be keen to attract in the short to medium term?
Architects, engineers, some companies that can plan effectively business processes in Ukraine. But this will all have to be a part of a so-called new Marshall Plan for Ukraine. But I would say that this plan is not needed for Ukraine only. This plan is needed for the whole world because war in Ukraine affects the whole world. You can see that prices are rising, and you can see that global supply chains are affected. Our economy will shrink at least by 1/3. These figures were confirmed by government of Ukraine and by the World Bank as well. We experience some high level of inflation, over 30%, but Ukraine doing its best in order to overcome these issues. Our government, National Bank of Ukraine, with support of international partners. But a lot remains to be done.
So where do you see the greatest need for investment by private or publicly listed companies in Ukraine?
Well, I would say energy and infrastructure and logistics. This is very important because our Black Sea was blocked. And about 50% of our exports were coming from agriculture and metallurgy. All those goods, they simply are limited in terms of what can be exported right now, and metals are not being produced even as at a pre-war level. But we also expect investments in agri-processing. We need investments in other manufacturing lines. We need investments in machinery, in metalworking sector, so all these high value added sectors that are needed for redevelopment of Ukraine. Also, we need to think about strategic sectors. We need to think about electric vehicles production because Ukraine is ideally positioned to be European center for such manufacturing facility. And things like pharmaceuticals, healthcare, IT and fintech is doing well in Ukraine because it's not connected to physical facilities. But 70% of Ukrainian IT and fintech companies were able to find partners during the war. So that means that we are competitive and the world is keen to cooperate with us.
When and how can investors get involved in Ukraine?
Investors should get involved right away. It's a simple answer to that. And we have some good examples. We have a global company called Kingspan, originally an Irish company, but now it's a global company with 200 manufacturing facilities around the world. They already announced investment and they are doing their planning exercise right now. They're bringing Ukrainian team together, looking at land plots, making feasibility studies and building business plan for them. I would give same advice to all other foreign companies. Start planning your investment right now. It will take between 12 to maybe 18 months to plan your investment properly, to start implementing your project on the ground in Ukraine. And UkraineInvest, as governments of Ukraine Investment Promotion Agency, is your reliable partner. So please do get in touch with us and we'll tell you what kind of incentives are currently being provided by the government of Ukraine. And there are a few. We can offer up to 30% of state support for investment projects over 20 million euros. You can get corporate tax relief, custom duties relief, and all other incentives that are needed for investment projects to be more profitable. So Ukraine is getting ready for this. and investors as well. They have to get ready to investment projects in Ukraine. There will be many of those. So the ones who will come first, they will have more profits and benefits, of course.
Given what Ukraine isn't able to supply at the moment, that contraction that we spoke about of around about a third, does that mean that there are opportunities, I suppose, for companies to help with those supply chains to the rest of the world in the short term?
Absolutely. Opportunities are all over there. It's about planning and about coordinating your activities. And we would invite Australian business to be more proactive. Get in touch with us, explain your expertise, and we will tell you how you can support Ukraine at the same time being profitable. Many opportunities on the table. Just, get in touch and we will guide you through.
Now, in an address to the Australian Parliament, President Zelensky mentioned that Australia might be well placed to assist in ports and maritime industry rebuilds. What could that look like?
That could be approached from different angles. Absolutely. We need your expertise and your experience in terms of maritime business and shipping. So we have two different shipping options in Ukraine. Shipping by sea and shipping by river. By sea, we will need to develop our port infrastructure. So this could be done on a basis of concessions or private-public partnership or just private projects in Ukraine. Also in shipbuilding, we're famous in terms of our industry for shipbuilding. So there is an opportunity for Ukraine. And if anyone has any river shipping opportunity, it's a good time to enter as well because rivers Dnipro, River Danube, they are open for operation, but we need to develop our infrastructure there as well. So a number of opportunities on the table. We just need to get in touch and get into a planning stage.
Have you got any idea of how many vehicles have been destroyed through the war?
Yes, we have information about more than 120,000 vehicles destroyed. So again, it's a big window for opportunity for any foreign companies to enter with their fleets to support Ukraine because there is a strong demand in the market.
It does feel wrong to be asking you about opportunities that come out of something so horrendous as an invasion of your country. And there may be some investors who feel nervous or feel wrong to be delving into that space. What would you say to them?
I will say to them that Ukraine will definitely win and we will recover, but this is emotional. And when you talk to investors, you have to talk in practical terms. So when you think about Ukraine, you need to remember that Ukraine is currently actively working with all international partners on investment insurance. This is to cover supply chain, your logistic operations, or building your facility physically. When we will go into a stage of a new Marshall Plan for Ukraine, there will be a special program to cover all these possible losses and risks. At the same time, when all of this will be covered, it's an honorable thing to do business in Ukraine because we are not only fighting for ourselves, we are fighting for democracy and we are fighting for the whole world because we don't want to see this kind of aggression happening anywhere throughout the world.